A look back on a show from our series in Seattle on this Greg Show Classic.
Straight out of Seattle, the star of 10.5 is the Swoop Show with Gregory Struss. I'm Brian the Intern from KJR-FM, welcoming world-famous glass sculptor Shannon O'Connor. Plus, once again, the music of the Jefferey Castle Band. And now, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Passive Aggressive 1999 and 2003, Gregory Struss!
Yay! I wasn't sure if it was an aftershock from 10.5 or the end of Friends. Ooh. Can you feel the love, people? Or the monorail coming down. We really weren't sure. Why wasn't that in the movie? Ron Sims wouldn't have let it. That's probably what it is.
They poured it out already.
Oh, they poured it down already. That's right. Anyway, speaking of 10.5 and Friends, the Peacock Network, NBC, is making an adult animated comedy about the lives of Siegfried and Roy's tigers. Also in the works, a horror movie about their costumes. Do I feel an aftershock coming in? Is there an aftershock? Oh, okay. I wasn't really sure. Okay. Thank you. Al Gore, you know the guy who won the presidential election but isn't president? You remember him, don't you? Well, he's starting his own television network. And you thought CBS was dull. Yes. Bobby Brown will have to stand trial for hitting his wife. Pop diva Whitney Houston. Did you hear about this? I'm sure you've been up on the news, haven't you? You been hearing about it? You know your music career is bad when your biggest hit is the one you gave your wife across her face. Oh! Hey, they can tune into Nightline. I don't give a all right. And promotions for the new Spider-Man movie will be aired on Major League Baseball bases. Did you hear about that? They did cut it? No, they didn't. Apparently, it's the best way to reach their target audience. And not to be outdone, in an effort to reach our target audience, the Swoop Show is going to have a bow and arrow. Maybe not.
We're going to cut that too.
We're going to cut that too? And finally, President Bush is asking for an additional $25 billion for the war in Iraq. Well, I don't have it, do you? Maybe you should ask the oil companies. They probably have it. Yes, Mr. Bush has an interesting strategy this election year. Because the gas prices are so high, no one is going to be able to afford to drive to the election precincts to vote him out of office. So it'll be real interesting. Thank you. We're on cable, right? There isn't any FCC requirements, right? Anything like that? There are no standards, right? But we define it. Yeah, it's like, okay, we don't do that anyway. We're glad that you're joining us. In addition to our salute to 10.5, do we feel that? Thank you. The lovely, the charming, the world famous, what did you say, Brian? She is the
World famous glass sculptor.
Glass sculptor?
Yeah.
And you were telling me I was an ass sculptor?
Yes.
Oh, okay. That's what you guys were talking about beforehand. Shannon O'Connor will be joining us with the 7 claps. And they kicked it last week here. And I mean, they brought the house down. And even in the 10.5 quake, I don't know. That's a whole separate story. The Jefferey Castle Band will be joining us once again. And 2 of the founding fathers from founders from Heart are also in that band. And we're going to have a look at them. They agreed to come back wearing the same clothes and everything. I thought that was outstanding. And we also have, this is a first. We have Brian the Intern from, now what did I say about Pat Cashman? I said he is legendary. The legendary Pat. I love Pat Cashman. I have not had a chance to listen to his show on KJR, but I'm sure you'll tell us all about it.
Yes.
Can you give us that look again? He's all excited about promoting Pat's show. Brian is on Pat's show on KJR. It's 95.7, is that correct?
Correct, yeah.
And he'll be joining us, so we can hear it for Brian. Yes. Is there anything else we'd like to talk about? Anything else before we break away to our wonderful break?
Nope.
Probably not. Anyway, I'm Greg. You're on the Swoop Show. We are in Seattle. Do you feel it? Oh! And we'll be back after this. Thanks for joining us. I think I'm going to get a bloody nose from all of this. This is pretty inventive stuff, don't you think?
The cameraman was coming up on us like that. It's like he was chasing us.
You were asking me how long I've done shows, and I don't want to tell you. And we worked at this one place in Chicago for years, and the woman who was in, and I don't want to say the woman, but the person who was in charge, I just gave this away, had a serious issue with people who would say cameraman. So, oh no, they're not. They're camera operators.
She just didn't like the phrase cameraman.
Cameraman.
No.
Out. And I just was like, how dare you? Get over there and clean the windows. Now, anyway, what I wanted to... That's not right. I'm almost like tempted to say we shouldn't even say that. But, yeah, so it's just one of those things. But you're in radio,
yeah.
And we are tuned to a wonderful program tonight. We have the music of the Jefferey Castle Band. Did you have a chance to tune in last week?
I didn't have a chance to tune in last week, but I was there the week before when you guys had on the couple doing the thing for, I forget what, Folk Life, was that it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I caught that show.
And then, of course, we have Shannon O'Connor, who is a glass sculptor.
Right.
And she said she can't talk about some of these things. Did you notice that
It seems like she's kind of keeping it under the radar there. Some of her techniques may be controversial, if we say that at least.
Her techniques?
I was talking to her about it, and she seems very, very, very hidden about it.
But she'll be joining us, and of course this is Brian Manis from the Pat Cashman, the legendary Pat Cashman.
Yes.
And I will tell you, you know where I fell in love with Pat Cashman wasn't so much on Almost Live. It was that damn commercial he did for Pierre Money Market.
Okay.
And he came out, he did that thing, and I watched it over and over and over again, and I'm like, who is this guy? And all of a sudden I tuned into Almost Live, and I was like, there he is, the legendary Pat Cashman. Yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting.
Extremely funny guy.
So you do mornings now?
I do mornings. I'm every single morning at 5, and also trying to toss that around with school and with, I don't have a job right now, but I'm also trying to put together my own little show. And so I do that, I broadcast straight to CD.
Right.
And so I do my own comedy show. Like the other night I interviewed the night janitor there.
Oh, so you're doing stuff when you're not doing stuff with...
Yeah, this is pretty much for my resume tape, so hopefully I can get my own little show.
What could be better than learning from somebody who has been in Seattle for a long time and who's just renowned and very well respected? I can't think of anything that would be more exciting to be in someone in your position like that.
No, well, the thing is, he's so funny, he can kind of build up a joke so well, and it just, like, his timing and everything else is kind of flawless. And be able to learn that, I noticed doing my own little show that I'm extremely influenced by him.
I know Paul, our creative director, we were watching King 5's, they did this thing live from the Needle or something, which you could just walk on Broadway and see a bunch of needles every night if you want.
Right.
And it just didn't seem like he was really into
what he was doing
that particular night. John Curley looked like he was... I don't know. John looked like he was a little, like he was having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Maybe just everybody kind of looked like they had a little bit too much wine beforehand. Yeah. I really wasn't sure about that. Anyway, we were talking about how do you know when people are tuning in? And I'll tell you, I don't know what you're doing out there, when you're doing it, or why you're doing it. But it's really kind of fascinating because I mean, I'll be at the gym, I'll be walking down the street, and people are saying, I see your show. And it's amazing at the people that are saying, I'm seeing your show. So I'm doing a crack deal, and someone walks up and says, I'm seeing your show.
See, that'd freak you out a little bit, wouldn't it?
It did freak me out, because, I was just trying to cut it up and do the little
and section it off.
Yeah. And so now that we're on at 11:30 at night, I mean, I was kind of like feeling a little overwhelmed because I'm like, you know, you're up against some of the biggest shows. You know, you have that infomercial for the Veggie-Master.
Have you seen that thing, though?
Yeah.
That's a cool invention. So, yeah, I mean, that's tough competition. That's not like the little shaver thing.
Yeah.
I mean, no one buys that, but that Veggie-Master.
Diagnosis Murder.
Right.
You know, all of our packs.
The reruns of that.
You know, I wanted to talk about the gas prices.
Oh, God.
Richard always wants to talk about the monorail. What the hell? But I find that we're living in a very exciting time. Because when you talk about war, seriously, when you talk about war, you know, it's like a schoolyard fight. You're not supposed to kick, you're not supposed to spit, you're not supposed to claw.
Right, it's just all punches.
How do you think I won? And and it's like all of a sudden, right, they're showing that these people have been abusing all of these prisoners.
Right.
Right? Who was really thinking that this stuff wasn't going on?
Right. See, it's also, I'm sure, like, we're doing on the other side, but we're supposed to be that kind of compassionate kind of nation, too. And so, if we're doing that stuff, you know, people around here are so kind of uppity about the war and so pissed off about it anyway. So anything else, just add fuel to the fire would be...
Well, there is no more fuel to the fire.
No,
we can't afford it.
Who can $2.50 for gas?
I mean, seriously, $2.15 a gallon for gas. And it's like, we go to the last war.
Right.
And it was like, what, $1.60, $1.50? But people are like, well, maybe it was being subsidized before. I don't know.
But they made the deal. They're going to go down before election.
They're going to go down before election.
It's the October surprise.
Well, the thing is, now gas is more expensive a gallon than milk. So if we can invent a car that runs on milk...
Where have you been?
Then we can go... You don't go to you can go to Rite Aid.
$4.39 a gallon.
No, not at Rite Aid. It's $2.
He's right.
Wow.
It's the cheapest damn milk in town.
Rite Aid for $2 a gallon.
It's a lost leader.
Rite Aid milk.
Okay. Is there anyone else that would like to comment on anything? Because Erin's about ready to strangle us. She's like, we got to go to break. We got to go to break.
Where to go?
There we got to go.
There we go.
They're winding us up. Anyway, Brian, you're on the legendary Pat Cashman show over on KJR. Please give us his best. Please give him our best. We really, like I said, I'm really glad that he's on the air because he really deserves to be on the air.
I think
he's like, when I think of Seattle, I think of Pat Cashman.
Yeah.
And you think of John Curley, but you think some of these other people, but no, he's not in the same boat. See, you're not playing politician here. That's the thing.
Yeah?
You're like, John Curley? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I love him. Anyway.
Because I could get blacklisted at any moment. Just trying to jump in my career.
Hell, we all are. What's the difference? Anyway, Brian's on in the morning over there on 95.7. Tune in. And you're working on some other projects?
Yeah, I'm hoping to get my own show.
And we certainly hope that you'll join us again sometime.
Yeah, definitely.
And we'll be back in a moment with, what are we doing next, Rich? Are we going to do the Jefferey Castle Band? Are we going to do, well, we're not going to do, well, I mean, Shannon will be out here. She will be our guest. Right. And, of course, a little later on, we'll hear from the Jefferey Castle Band. You're on the Swoop Show, and we'll be back after this. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
No, please, don't fall. Don't fall. It was only a movie. That's all it was. I'm John Curley. I'm not funny.
Okay.
I leave it up to you. Do it right. Take me through the night. Shadow.
So, like, in between our break, there's somebody, a musician walks in, he's like, I'm a musician. I received a call from Paul, and I'm not going to perform on the show, but I just wanted to see what it's about. And I'm like, well, what do you do? He's like, I play the keyboard. And I'm like, okay, that's great. Are you bringing it in? No, I'm not performing tonight. And I'm like, what are you, union or something? This is the lovely, the charming, the talented, world-famous glass sculptor, Shannon O'Connor. I thought it was like the... How are you, Shannon?
Fine, thank you.
So now that we have the list of things we can't talk about, the first thing she does when she walks in, she's like, well, I can't talk about politics. And I'm like, why not? And I'm like, why not? And you're like, because I really, I'm not up on that. And, for the most part, I'm not either. I said, so can we talk about this glass sculpture, this big thing that you're working on? No, I can't talk about that either. I said, can we talk about astrology? And you're like, really not sure? And is there something going on? I'm just hearing like
TV.
What's wrong?
The blanket on the TV is falling down.
Okay. This is what you get against going Nightline and everything. All right. Anyway, Shannon is a glass sculptor. Now, this has been something big over the it's really kind of become, it's one of those niche things. You started back in 82. I moved here from Michigan, and what was kind of big there wasn't so much glass sculpting, it was taking these big things of ice. Actually, I think it was what that whole glacier thing that kind of like shifted. But I'm not much on geology either. Anyway, so how did you all of a sudden get into doing glass sculpting?
Well, I started just doing restaurants, sub shops, submarine sandwich shops, and would do little borders around the windows. And
I thought maybe you took like a glass sculpt of the actual building and like chiseled it all. No, it wasn't that way?
No, but I knew that I had to do more than just restaurants, so I started experimenting a lot. And I just finished creating a large 58 Duo Glide Harley Davidson in glass.
See, I thought that was on the list of things we couldn't talk about.
Yeah, well...
Because one of those people, right? One of those people who's considering some of your work happens to be on in this particular time slot. That's all we can say, right?
No.
No, we can't say that either. Anyway, so I mean, this is really a beautiful piece of work. How long did it take you? Are we going to be able to look at this at all, or should we not even talk on this?
No, you'll show pictures.
Richard, can you come up and just draw a picture of this thing? We'll do win, lose, or draw. It's a Harley.
Yeah, and it's large. It's about 2,000 pounds.
Wow.
And it's about 70% actual size, and it's unique. It's pretty much a rendering, but it's pretty precise. It's just it's like three-dimensional inside.
Do you really want to talk about it, or do you want to talk about something else?
Well,
you're like, I want to talk about something else, but you gave me a list of things you don't want to talk about.
Well, what do you want to talk about?
Let's talk about your belief system. You said you had some beliefs when it came to doing that.
I did not.
Did you say you had a DVD that came out? And I'm like, and I was like, so you have this DVD, and you're like, it's my belief, and I just had to talk about something for 3 minutes. I'm like, I have 28 minutes to do my beliefs every week, I guess, and I still go on and on and on and on. So really, talking about what kind of glass is this? This isn't something that you can just go to a hardware store and just like, I need like a 5x8, and I'm going to...
Well, it's about 6 inches wide, deep, and it's large. It's clear. No, you can't get it from a hardware store.
Where do you go for it? Where do you go for it?
I go to a supply house.
Is there something going on here that I'm not aware of? It's almost like, oh, you got the blanket's missing. The blanket's missing. I don't know. Okay. So you go to a supply house, and I mean, some of these some of these sculptures are, I mean, what did you say, like 2,500 pounds or something like that?
Well, the actual piece, the finished piece, is 2,000 pounds of the glass without the lighting and the base.
Oh, wow. So how long would it take you to do something like that?
Well, it took me years of figuring out how to do it. I mean, I must have created 4 prototypes that failed. And I would just put it all in a closet. And
it sounded like our first 30 shows.
Yeah.
Anyway. I don't know. I'm sorry.
Ouch.
Why do you say they failed?
Well, it just, I'm pretty persistent, and I would work on something that was just doomed from the very beginning, but I would want to finish it, even though I knew it wasn't going to work.
It's been the story of most of my relationships, but no, I don't know. You just got to persist and keep going and going and going and going.
Exactly.
Let's talk about some of your work right now and where someone can see it, because I know that you do have a big project, and obviously for legal reasons and such, you can't talk about it, but... It sounds like a really big deal. Sounds really exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have anything locally in Seattle that
Well, I'm throughout most of the West Coast, throughout Northern California, Southern California, and a lot of the East Side area, Kirkland, Bellevue, Mill Creek, and I have a few pieces in Seattle, but a lot of them are in private homes. I have done a few piano bars, water walls.
So we talking big money? Are you taking all of us out for dinner afterwards, or what? It's been the first time I've ever asked somebody. It's like, come on the show, be a guest, come on, take us all out for dinner afterwards. So really, I mean, obviously it takes a lot of time to put this together, and there is cost in it. Mm-hmm. Is this what you do full time now, or?
Oh yeah.
So how many do you think you do per year?
Well, I try to stay full time. It's just that would be nice.
Do you ever just get like? Do you ever just take a cigarette like this and just do the chisel like that? I don't know. I'm sorry. Anything else you'd like to talk about before we go to break here? How do people contact you if they're interested in finding out more about your work?
Basically, Grey Wolf Productions. You'll have that information.
No, we won't. Go ahead. Staff? The website, of course. What it's greywolf.dynip.com. Okay. Now
I'm in the process of a brand new website, and so it's going to go into different.
And they actually can see your video. You have video there of you actually doing the work and everything, and your beliefs.
You are my belief system.
I thought the way you said it earlier, I thought that was so entertaining that way. But we appreciate you coming out. Anything else that you'd like to say?
Not really.
Did you have fun?
Yeah.
You felt this was a positive experience? She's got to go home and like, that guy's a jerk. I can't believe it. Anyway. Happy meals too?
Yeah. That's
okay. Shannon O'Connor, thank you. This has been the most bizarre interview I think I've ever had in my entire life.
Probably.
Anyway,
oh,
thanks
Lord.
for joining us. We'll be back in a
Thank you.
moment. Right after this on The Swoop Show.
If I stay here without you, darling, how would I? I want you laying in the
Jim, I'm only a doctor.
I'm only a talk host.
Welcome back. I want to do like a Alfred Hitchcock thing. It's like, welcome back, Ben-Hur. Then I'm talking to you.
You'll take these.
And I'm talking to you. Thank you.
Like
Moses and the Ten Commandments. Do you think Moses had a sure moment or not?
Had a what?
Did Moses wear like antiperspirant or not? Because I would have been not raising my hands if I were sure. Our next guest bedazzled audiences with last week's performance. And we had so much fun and so much love that we've decided to invite them back once again. You can see them all around Seattle, and they're here once again. We're very honored to be welcoming the Jefferey Castle Band.
To this ride, how I got up to the front of this line, with the wind on my face and the water rushing to my eyes, watch the world go passing by. Yeah, I'm your way. How it's real tree. So glad they brought you to this place. So I can't touch your face as she moves to when she absorbs all the light, like those dark summer nights when she lays down her head. Doesn't matter who's right or wrong, just depends who's singing the song. Yeah, I feel your way. If what you do is play, I can't touch your pretty face.
See your sweet way. See your sweet way.
See your sweet
Thank you very much.
Bill Gates is suggesting computer users start purchasing email stamps. Does this mean that I have to start licking my hard drive? Well, the lights are shining, the halls are being decked, and a jolly man is delivering gifts. Yeah, it's that time of the year again. Michael Jackson is having his annual Christmas gathering with the local Cub Scout troop. I want to take a picture of all of you at home, just for my thing here. Okay.
There's Winnie the Pooh. We got to get a close-up on his poo tie.
There's a little thing with prune juice and tang. It's a little prune tang. The show, we're glad that you allowed us to come down to the Chicago Access Facility. Where is it? You can tell us the address again.
We are at 322 South Green, which is 1 block west of Halstead at Van Buren. And any Chicago residents that are watching are welcome to come to a regular orientation that we have here 3 times a month. Find out more about us. We're in the cablecast room now. There's some activity going on around us because this is the room where 5 of our channels go upstream to the cable head end and are turned around and then go out to subscribers in the city of Chicago.
And incidentally, Dan Schmidt's show's on right now. We're watching Dan Schmidt's show. Dan was on last week, by the way.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Yeah.